Let's get started with iOS. Our new release is iOS 14. Let's dig in, starting with the home screen. Today's home screen works great, But as we get more and more apps, we can end up with this: lots and lots of pages. And we tend to forget what's beyond the first couple: app library. It's a new space at the end of your home screen pages that automatically organizes all your apps in one simple and easy to navigate view. I've lost track of where a lot of things are, and that's where the app library comes in. You can see that all of my apps are automatically organized here. In fact, now with the app library, I actually don't need all those pages for all my apps. So we created an easy way to hide app pages. I just go into jiggle mode, tap the dots at the bottom, and check this out. I get a zoomed out view of all my app pages. I can simply tap to hide the pages I no longer need, just like that. And now with those pages hidden, app library is always just a swipe or two away. Next, let's turn to widgets. To start, they're more beautiful and data rich. And we're introducing different sizes, so you can choose one that best fits your needs. So let's swipe over to Today View. And you can see they now come in a variety of sizes, so you can pick just the right level of information for each one. Now, we like these new widgets so much, we wanted to make them even more accessible. So check this out. I'm just gonna tap and hold on the weather widget, and I can drag it out of Today View and onto my home screen. And watch, as I move it around, the apps just dance out of the way to make space for my new widget. Well, let's add a second one. Just gonna tap the plus here in the upper left and grab onto podcasts. I can drop it just like that. Now I'm gonna swipe over to page 2 here and bring back up the widget gallery. The gallery is a great place to explore widgets. Now, when I tap on one, I can actually page through all of the different sizes available, just like this. But you know, right now what I want to do is grab this widget up top. It's a really special one. It's called the Smart Stack. I'm just going to tap it and drop it here. With the Smart Stack, I can easily swipe through widgets to pick just the one I want for the moment. Next, we're also bringing picture-in-picture to iPhone. So you can access apps on your iPhone while watching video or talking on a FaceTime call. Let me show you. So here on my home screen, the Smart Stack is showing me the TV widget, so I can just tap to start playing a show. Now check this out. When I swipe to go home, the video automatically goes into picture-in-picture right over the home screen. And when I launch another app, like Notes, I can keep watching. Now I can drag the picture to another part of the screen. If I want to make it bigger, I can even pinch to zoom. Siri. For example, if you say, open Safari, Siri pops up at the bottom of the screen and instantly launches the app. Or if you ask for information, like the weather, results appear at the top of the screen, just like a notification. Now, this is especially great when there's information you want to reference on screen. For example, you could ask Siri to add to your grocery list.
Hey, what's up guys? MKBHD here, and iOS 14 is here. Once you're actually on a FaceTime, you can actually swipe up, go home, and do other things, and the FaceTime continues, doesn't pause your video. It keeps the camera up and working. You can look something up, grab a phone number, whatever you were gonna do, it doesn't have to pause, and you can move around that picture-in-picture as long as you're doing all that. And speaking of picture-in-picture, it's just generally more widely supported throughout the entire OS now, so whether you're watching a movie in Apple TV in that app, or just any video in Safari really. 2 buckets, straight from Android, and genuinely new stuff that Google should copy. Emoji search, so instead of typing a word and hoping the right suggested emoji pops up, now you can just search for any emoji you want anytime, which has revived the age-old question, is this emoji prayer hands or a high five? Then there's a new stock Translate app, which is nice to see. It only supports a smaller number of languages, looks like about a dozen right now, but I expect to see that list grow over time, and it works great for quickly translating conversations between 2 people. Then we also saw app clips, which is like little snips of apps that you can quickly temporarily use when you don't have the whole app installed, but need to use some of its functionality. A lot of good stuff there, but then we'll move on to the super unique features that I haven't seen. Some of this stuff wasn't even talked about on stage, but you know, as people dig through the betas, we found some of it, and it's good. I want to start with some accessibility settings. So in iOS 14, if you go into Settings, Accessibility, Touch, and then Back Tap, you can now map a double tap or triple tap of the back of the phone to a shortcut. All I do is double tap the back, and after about half a second, Siri pops up, and then I think I did triple tap to take a screenshot, And there it does. It's a slight delay, but it does work, and it's kind of neat to have an extra thing mapped to the back of the phone. I kind of wish opening the camera was one of the available shortcuts. Here's another really interesting accessibility feature: settings, accessibility, sound recognition. This will let you turn on notifications if the phone's mics recognize a sound that might be important. So it's meant for people hard of hearing, but could still be useful to anyone if it picks up a doorbell or a fire alarm or a faucet running that you forgot to turn off. The feature: anytime, literally anytime an app starts using the camera, iOS shows a little green light to let you know that something is accessing the camera. And anytime the microphone is accessed, a little orange light. And then in the improved, faster camera app, when taking a night mode photo, it gives you a gyroscopic guide to help you keep the phone still to take a better handheld picture. Another one is if you're FaceTiming and the AI detects that someone in that group FaceTime call is using sign language, it will move them up to the most prominent, biggest spot so everyone on the FaceTime can see the sign language.
Let's get started with iOS. Our new release is iOS 14.
What up, everyone? We are here with another podcast, and as you can see, today we are got a really viral topic, because Apple had their event, WWDC, and we are going to talk about Apple in today's podcast. And of course, Patrick is with me.
Yeah, welcome back, everyone. Yeah, as Roland said, this podcast will be all about Apple, their past, their present, and what's coming for us, the future.
Yeah.
So yeah. First of all, we don't know whether you saw the event, but it was quite interesting. Some good stuff came, and especially for me because I have an iPhone, so I'm quite curious about what's this whole feature. These features are what's about exactly. But this is your plate, Roland, because you know everything about it, I think.
Yeah.
At least you know more.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I do not have an iPhone. But I'm really interested, all in all, in technology, mobile phones and stuff. So of course, in iPhone 2. Also, I'm thinking of changing iPhone, but that's the future stuff. So obviously, I keep myself up to date about what's happening in Apple world.
Yeah.
And I think we should just jump in with WWDC and what happened. And obviously the biggest, or not, so not the biggest, but one of the biggest definitely was iOS 14. And we got a couple of new features, obviously. And I think the biggest one here, or at least what I found really, really interesting, is the widgets. I mean, widgets which you can put on your home screen. This is something as an Android user. This I'm using on daily. It's a really useful feature. Android has it I don't know, very long time, and it is indeed useful. It is why I think one of the biggest new features, because I know it's useful. I use it a lot. You can more customize with your phone with it, and it can be it can be better to catch up with your phone, you can like see on your home screen what you wanna. And like, for example, for me, weather forecast is something that's always on my home screen. And
As a widget, right?
yeah, as a widget. And it's something like one of the most useful features. I mean, I just open my phone and like, oh, I can see that what kind of weather is gonna be out there, and it's something which really helps. I mean, of course, you could open an app, and that's like not a big deal also, but if you can have a widget, why not have a widget for it?
Of course, this is the most convenient way to just lock up your phone and just see on the screen what's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
For example, some people will definitely use it for looking up for some new stuff on trade markets, or just see their to-do list, because you can do that as well. And what I'm really into the stuff is that they have this kind of smart widgets, which means that you can swipe between widgets in the widget. So it's like for example, you see the weather first on a widget, and then you can swipe to your trade market, or just see your calendar or something. So it's really useful. Will be, of course.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially because like you don't have that much of a place on your home screen, it can be really easy to like just swipe between widgets and see the weather, see what you gotta do. I don't know, music maybe. By the way, music widget is like, I think that's something that I use the most. I have my music app as a widget, and like it's pretty useful. You can just swipe and scroll between your musics, and then you can put something on, and honestly, it's very convenient. Yeah, maybe these are just little things, but I think as for now, software makers can only have these little little improvements. I mean, we already got really good softwares, especially if we talk about iOS. It's very well developed.
Of course, I believe that we won't have another huge development in mobile history, or development, because we've done it all. So we have everything in our phones. Of course, they will improve the cameras. They will, for example, develop the screen, of course, to make it more realistic and nicer. But you actually can't develop your phone on a whole new level, because we have everything.
Yeah, something like this is very true. And by the way, there are some new features, like not just widgets, but you can now very well customize that little window when you like do home screen on YouTube, and you have that little window, and now it's very well customizable.
Of course.
And working with more apps, that's something again helps with multitasking. I think the most useful of this improvement is that you can swipe that window to the side, and you don't see anything from it, but you can hear it. And for example, listening to music, listening to podcasts, listening to anything, it can be very useful. And while you're doing it, you can like do anything with your smartphone without like anything covering what you're doing. And like if you want to change something in it, you just swipe from the slide and you can use that.
Of course, but actually, for example, the latest YouTube feature, the premium, can do this. So not like you see this in a widget, but whether you get off your YouTube, then the sound will keep being there, so you are able to listen to it, but you have to get back to YouTube to see the screen and see the video. So, but widgets, you can do this without just go back to the app. So you just have to swipe to the left or right. So it's more convenient.
Yeah. Also,
as well,
by the way, YouTube Premium has that widget feature too. I mean, so like it's not very well balanced, let's say this way. But it has this feature. By the way, go. I mean, it was just a fun fact.
So yeah, and next we have the compact UI, which is actually a picture-in-picture, something like that. So this is same shape as a widget, same technology, I think, but it allows you to, for example, be in a Zoom call with your friends and still keep on reading your daily book or something, or ebook or something. So, or just scrolling down Instagram or Facebook. So it's like you couldn't do that. For example, I FaceTime a lot. So when I'm on FaceTime and I'm FaceTiming, and for example, I would like to send the people some pictures or something, when I get off the FaceTime, the camera that shows me shuts down immediately, and then the other people cannot see me. But with this compact UI, they fix this. So whether you get off your FaceTime, the other people will see you. So it won't stop, actually, and you can still watch Netflix or what you wanna watch in a widget, as the widget functions. I think this is what's this whole thing about.
Yeah. It's like, it's again something which like I don't know how disturbing it was before. I mean, because I use Android, I obviously don't have FaceTime and stuff like that. And on my phone personally, this feature is like there for like a year or 2 years. But it's always something like this. I mean, one company finds out something, the other copies it, and one software has this feature, another one does not have that feature, and later implicate that feature. So like, anytime I bring up Android as an example, it's just like, obviously you have something to compare it, and you will compare it to it. And that's what I'm doing, because I only can do that as I don't use an iPhone.
Of course. Yeah, it was kind of disturbing. Because I use FaceTime a lot, and you can see the other people. So yeah, it's kind of disturbing.
Yeah. And there's another feature. There are more features, obviously, but there's another one which.
Yeah, a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, which is again kind of there in Android for a long time, and that like you can swipe up and you got your apps in files, and like it's again something you can very well organize your stuff, and as well you can see what kind of apps you got there. It's easier to access all of your apps. It's something, again, not a big deal. I mean, swiping up or swiping to the left or right, it's kind of the same, but I think it's good to see all of your apps organized in one page, which you can like scroll up and down. It's like,
Oh, you mean now the new home screen, right?
yeah, I mean, not like you can swipe up from the home screen and you got your apps, all of your apps.
Yeah. Organized.
Or well,
Oh.
organized, yeah.
Automatically. Yeah.
Yeah, and like it's indeed useful. I mean, if you like wanna you wanna like trash some of your apps, you can like see all in one, and like you can free some space up easily, and stuff like that. So like, really, again, not a big deal, but I think a cool improvement, cool enchantment.
Of course, because I think everyone has those kind of apps that like they think, oh, I will open it once in a while, but I don't want to delete it because I need it or something. So you just can not delete it, but like you can save up space, of course. So with just one click. So yeah, it's useful.
Yeah. And then again, new feature is where you can hide one of your screens or more than one. I mean, like you know, you can swipe from the middle, and you can like choose between your windows, and you can hide one of it or two of it. Honestly, I don't really see the point in this. I mean, obviously, it's something, again, you can organize your stuff, and like you can unsee apps which you don't want. But like, I don't really got the point here.
Oh, come again, please.
I mean, you know, you can like hide one of your screen windows which you've got your apps on.
Yeah.
And like it's for, again, organizing stuff and unseeing apps which you don't want. But I personally don't think it's really useful. I mean, why you have apps which you don't wanna see?
I think it could be useful, but it's not about you don't want to see. You want to see those apps you use on daily basis. So
Makes sense,
you,
yeah.
for example, if you have the opportunity to just not delete but hide some apps, and to make more space or to connect some sense to your apps that you use on daily basis, then you definitely would do that. And I of course I will. For example, I have my phone right in front of me. So for example, I have important apps for me, like the app for my eye lamp, and this will be the most used app in my future, for example, because this is the only way how I can turn off or on my light. For example, I have Instagram and basic stuff like that, but for example, I have a whole bunch of stuff here, like for online school, and as you know, summertime, officially started. So I won't need these apps during summer. So then I could hide them. So I won't get irritated, and I won't be able to see it and just remember how this whole school system was shit. So I can live my happy life with just seeing Instagram, TikTok, and things like that. So yeah, I think it will be definitely useful for me, actually.
This way, like, yeah, what makes sense.
You can agree, I think.
Yeah, this way, like, it really makes sense. Honestly, for the first time, I just didn't see the point, but now you explained it, it's like more clear. I still just yeet those up out of my app list. So like, yeah, but it makes sense. Like, there are apps you use very rarely, but still don't wanna delete it, even though you use it rarely.
Yeah, sure. And there are other bunch of stuff. They actually they copied something straight from Android. Like you can search with emojis now.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's like. Does it actually make your life more convenient or something? I don't know why it's like a feature there. So
So
have you ever used it as an Android user?
no, I mean, never. You know, you've got your little icon which you can tap on, and you have all your recent used emojis. And like that's like perfectly enough, because like those are emojis which you use regularly, and like you can tap on whatever you wanna. And like those are approximately 30 or something like that, 30 emojis, and from 30 you can like I think those amount of emojis are enough for you. You don't have to search for other ones. I've never used it, and like because I think everybody has those emojis which they use, any kind of emojis, like
Yeah, of course.
it's kind of customized, personalized, which one you want to use, which and how you use the particular one, and you won't search for it, you will just have on that recent tab, I think.
Of course, I think these features are like they're great. They're great. No words here, but there's always a but, and this but I think is a huge here, because these features can be used in certain situations. For example, I have in front of me a new feature in iPhone that they actually copied from Android. For example, quick translator. What the sorry mate, but actually when you use it, it's like on a vacation, but you can speak English. So worldwide language, you don't have to use it. Okay, for example, you go to Argentina, you meet a nice guy on the road, and you want to know the directions, for example, to the nearest local shop or something, store, and then you can use this quick translator. Sorry. So it's like 1% of 100% situation.
Yeah, I see.
Why is it a thing? Why is it a thing? Quick translator. So it's like, for example, in iPhone you can tap the back of the phone like 3 times, and then you can get this quick translator. But I don't know why it's a feature or something like that. But we have here unique features as well that Apple developed actually. Of course, they developed their emoji system as well. Again, I don't know why, but they have some thoughtful features as well. For example, when you know, there's a swipe. For example, you scroll down Instagram, and then you swipe to the left, so your camera will turn on, and then this movement is signed on the very top of your phone with a red point above the Wi-Fi sign and your battery sign. And when your microphone isn't muted, or when your microphone is working, then a red dot will appear there. So this could be useful because I had a situation when I didn't mute myself, and it was kind of embarrassing after that, because my phone actually didn't send me the right signal for that. And here we have another useful feature, I think. So the phone makes you aware that you're in a conference call and you have to concentrate on it. So it's like, I think it's useful.
Yeah, I can definitely agree on that one. And also, two very new, very useful features. Again, first is this car key thing, which is like, which is, I think, definitely is the future. Like, you can open your car with your phone, and like you just with NFC, you just putting your phone there, and it locks up.
Of course, this is where the widgets will be actually very useful.
Yeah, and like, this is something which I think we heading into the future with these kind of things, because I think the future is definitely when everything is compatible with everything, and you can use your smartphone, your computer, your tablet, your car, everything are technological together, and those working together. And I think this is like a little step for it, but it is a step for it, definitely. And I know it's like it's gonna drop in 2021 maybe, but it's still a useful feature. It still will be a useful feature. And also they improved Apple's map app, and so it's like something I just personally wanna mention. They put in a bicycle feature, like you can track where to go with bicycle. And honestly, as a biker, as someone who goes everywhere with bike, it's like a very, very useful feature. And it's something like I think all the bikers like dreaming of, because like Google Maps kind of has this feature, but like you cannot plan normal roads with it, and that makes it useless. But I hope it's gonna be different with Apple's map, because like in a lot of situations, especially if you go long distances with bike, you need a map system. You need a map system to use.
So does this feature like sense or detect roads for bicycles or something?
So like they didn't explain it how it will work, and we don't know yet. They just said they put in a bicycle feature, like a bicycle option, and I just hope that it's gonna contain bicycle roads where you can go with bicycle and stuffs like that. I mean, that's how it would make sense.
Yeah, of course. And I think this should be the last new feature that we will mention, then we can move on.
Yeah, definitely.
So like they developed the technology like when there's a Zoom call or FaceTime, like when there's a group who are FaceTiming or in a Zoom call, if there's a people who uses sign language, then their camera, their screen will be on a spot where this is the most viewable or something. So a clear, she will get a clear view. So whether there's deaf people who can only talk with sign language, they will see each other in a clear view. But I don't know what exactly that means, like where, the middle of the screen or right corner or something. But I think this is like a good feature as well.
Yeah, it's honestly, I just think it's a very respectful decision.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, there is a need for supporting the deaf community, and it's definitely for it. It's definitely a very cool feature for it, and it's something like, you know, that's something what we need. That's what deaf people need. And like it's a useful feature, and more for showing respect towards deaf people, and I think that's cool. That's really cool. Also, one really last thing, they got some enchantments with night mode feature too, which is like more like was a little improvement, repairing some kind of
It kind of shows you on the screen, kind of shows you with some lines the right vertical and horizontal status.
Yeah.
Or doesn't it, or something like that?
Yeah. It can be seen right now in the video. I think. So it's like a more developed night mode. We like night mode, so that's cool, I guess.
Yeah, of course. These things are like little steps forward to a more convenient life, but this could help us actually.
Yeah. And now I think we can move on for a bit for the iPad and iPad OS.
Yeah.
So iPad OS mostly got features which as in iOS 14, which is not surprising. So widgets and stuff, everything is in iPad OS 2, which I was really expecting is new apps for iPad and for iPad OS. I mean, we got a lot of stuff with iPad. iPad is now really getting into the computer industry, but until it does not have the enough amount of apps, it's gonna be useless. And for example, what I mean, there are cool apps already, but for example, as a content creator, I am just praying for video edit program, and like they have the possibility, like, you know, Final Cut Pro and stuff like that. They have the possibility to do it for iPad 2, and I was kind of expecting they will do, but it's kind of a disappointment that they didn't.
I'm sorry, but I don't know what you actually are talking about. It's like iPad OS 14.
Maybe I jumped a little like forward, because like there is no big improvements in iPad OS 14. I mean, I don't know, most of it just from iOS 14.
Yeah, so it's like the same for the phones.
Yeah. And what I was explaining is that I was expecting new apps for iPad OS.
Oh, I see. I see.
Like apps like video editing apps, for example.
Right. So now I have I have it. So I wanted to say that one of my friends told me that, yeah, I've mentioned to him that I like cut with Premiere Pro, and he said that you should buy an iPad because this is where the most convenient feature is going to appear. For example, in video cutting and stuff. So he told me that I should buy an iPad because this will be the most I don't know how to say this, but yeah, it's kind of like the most convenient way to cut videos. And yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree on that one. I mean, obviously it has a touch screen. It has a pen if you buy it, but it has a pen. And stuffs like that will make the iPad a very convenient, for example, video editing tool.
Yeah.
But we need apps for it. We need video editing apps. If I'm not mistaken, it will get Adobe Premiere Pro somewhere.
I don't know.
I don't understand why they didn't develop Final Cut Pro for iPads. I mean, that's Apple's video editing programming. Like, they could kind of easily develop it. I mean, easily, not actually easily, but more easily than waiting for Adobe. And you know, I think iPad gonna be the future for laptops when it has enough apps, and until it does not have, I'm not sure if it can be really useful. It can be useful for everyday usage. Now it has enough apps for everyday usage, you know, Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and stuff like that. And if you only have that kind of interest, then that's cool. If you like kind of somebody who likes to draw and stuff like that or actually on screen, that's good too. That's useful in case of iPad, but it's right now it's not useful for huge content creators. I mean, for filmmaking, for animations, for video editing.
I can agree with that because you gotta have a huge screen that shows you and that allows you a huge space to work on. So it's like I have a little notebook in front of me, and this has, I think, the smallest screen of all time. And when I edit videos, to adjust my other pages in Premiere Pro, so I always have to zoom in, zoom out, take this to the other side, toss it on the other side, so it's like not that convenient. So I think this is how it actually works. The bigger the screen, the more space you have, I believe.
Yeah, I can agree completely.
I have a lack of space to work on, so it's like frustrating me all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I have 2 screens, and that's how you can work. I
Yeah,
mean,
of course.
especially if you like searching for content which you put in the video, you edit, you have opened more screens like a browser and stuff like that, and you will have those open because you are constantly searching, you are multitasking, and iPad needs, for example, a possibility to like have more screens. I mean, it's
I don't know.
possible to make it.
I think you can attach your iPad to your notebook, or can't you? I don't know
I'm
this.
not sure. I mean, I watched a lot of videos on iPad and nobody mentioned this feature. So.
But I think this would be a huge feature. So you can buy your iPad, you can work on it, you can edit on it, but you have the ability to multitask whilst you're editing. So yeah, this two monitor, two screen stuff. This is the best way to work, to get your job done.
Definitely. And it could be really good because when you are on the go, when you travel and stuff, iPad is really easy to carry with you, and that's so this way iPad could be your computer at home, because like it has the power for it though. And it could be your on-the-go laptop, actually, or notebook, even though it's a tablet. And in this case, you have everything all in one. And I think that's what everybody wants. That's what we want. I mean, I want that. And with the features of the pen, touch screen, it could be a really good work machine, because like obviously most of the case of notebooks you cannot touch your screen. There are some when you can, but in most of the cases you cannot, and it could be useful that it could be useful too.
I believe, I don't know why, but I saw it somewhere that you can attach keyboard to your iPad.
Yeah, you can. You can, yes, and you can attach mouse too.
Yeah, so you can use it as a small notebook. So yeah.
Yeah. So
I think this is the future. So if they add the feature that allows you to connect it to a bigger screen, then I think this will be the most convenient way to work.
Yeah, so I can definitely see that future when we don't use notebooks, we don't use heavy power machines,
like
or
PCs or something. So
PCs or things like that, or gaming laptops and stuff. We just use iPads or other tablets. Now the best I think is iPad. Like the iPad is the closest for this future. And that's why I hope that Apple will go with improvements, will go with apps, will give the possibility to have more screens attached if you are at home. That could be really useful. And in this case, who knows? In 2 or 3 years, maybe I won't change my laptop to another laptop. I may buy an iPad because it's that good.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Definitely.
And now again, I think we can go on. I mean.
Oh, one more thing I want to ask you. So,
of course.
Do you believe that foldable phones will be huge competitors against iPads or like tablets on the market?
Honestly, it's a really hard question because
The technology shows us some information, but we aren't able to see what's coming yet.
I mean, there is the Galaxy Fold, there is the Galaxy Z Flip, and there is Huawei's Mate Access.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the big ones. Of course, there are some little like the Royal Flex Spy, but let's not talk about that one. These are mostly the free options. These are 3 different foldable options, though. I mean, Z Flip is more like a phone which you can fold into half, and it's I think that's the most useless way, because you got just an easier way to have your phone in your pockets, but like I think most of our phones are suitable in our pockets.
I would argue with that, but yeah, go on.
So the Galaxy Fold is more like a smartphone and a tablet, and same with Huawei's Mate Access. Huawei's Mate Access folds to the outside, and I think Huawei's is the best because you have a bigger screen, you have an outer screen. I don't know if you saw pictures of the Mate Access, because like without it it's hard to imagine it.
Actually, I haven't seen any.
It's really hard to explain. The point is, Huawei's I think is the most useful, but the problem is with durability. And in case of durability, the Fold is the best because the folded screen is hidden, because it folds inside, while Huawei's folded screen folds outside, and like it can be easily scratched. These screens are plastic, even though Samsung says that Z Flip screen is ultra thin glass, but it actually has a glass layer on it, a plastic layer on it. So the Z Flips, which is marketed as ultra skin glass, it's not actually that, it's plastic. So the point is, all these screens are plastic, and plastic can be easily scratched even with your fingers, and the problem is with that. Until this problem is not solved, until these products are not durable enough for everyday usage, I can't get that it can be the future. I mean, most of the people are not very, very safe with their products, and we need durable smartphones and tablets.
Because this is what we need. For example, I think most of the people are always in a rush, and they have to make quick decisions, go faster, make the road faster, make their trip faster. So, for example, when I ride my bicycle, I can't even put my phone in my pockets because I believe that when I go faster, they would just drop out and like smash on the ground or something. So we need phones that can make it through these situations as well. For example, like you just drop it, but not accidentally, of course, and when I like see the screen, it's shredded everywhere, and so it's like shit.
I see.
We need Gorilla Glass.
This is what the most use one. This is what everybody uses, and like, as we can say, it is indeed very durable. As far as leaks go, they say Gorilla Glass and Samsung works together on foldable screen. We will see. We will see if it will happen. But let's just assume, in theory, we got durable enough foldables, which are at least as durable as our phones right now. And in this case, I think foldables will replace our smartphones and not iPads or not tablets. And it's because foldables does not have that big of a screen. As you said, we need big screens, as we talked about it, and foldables has big screens, but it's big enough for social media, for photo editing, for doing words and stuff like that. So I think foldables will be useful for on the go. On the go, they will be useful. But like, for example, foldables won't work like an iPad, or at least not for now. Because like Samsungs have a 7.1 inch display, Samsung Fold, and comparing to an iPad which have 12 point something, it's like much smaller. And we even said that iPad screen is not big enough. Yeah, you know what I'm getting.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I think I can imagine a future when we have iPads as our laptops, as our notebooks, as our PCs, everything, and we have our foldables as our smartphones. And like, when you are in the bus, you can easily attach a photo, edit a photo, do social media, watch a YouTube video, and obviously it's better on a bigger screen. And you can have a better multitasking, but not a good enough multitasking, for example, for a video editing. Maybe if you want to edit a TikTok, then that's obviously cool for
Enough.
Our phones can do that today too, but that's better on a bigger screen too. It's like
you have more space to work with.
Yeah, and that's what multitasking all about. More space. That's what we need, and that's why I think tablets and foldables in the future is imaginable, definitely. And what your thoughts about this though?
Actually, what you said, this is what I think exactly. So I can't argue with that or add any other stuff for that. So it's like I have the same thoughts. So iPads could work as notebooks in the future, but foldable phones definitely won't because of the lack of space to work on. So yeah, this is what I think as well. Yeah. So I think we should move on. You wanted to say something before I've asked you about this?
Yeah, so our last thing is Mac OS and Macs. MacBooks.
I don't know. I think this is the section that Apple should like toss it on the side and deal with their phones and their iPads. I think Macs don't have future. But yeah.
I honestly I can agree. I mean, I see that MacBooks are one of the best notebooks out there right now. They are very powerful, and like
like for 200 grands, so it's like worth it though.
yeah, but like so like there are big changes here too. I mean, which they consider big. They will change from Intel to their own chipsets, and like it's so it's like I don't know. Everybody says that it's a big change. Honestly, I now I don't see why we need a faster laptop. That's not. I mean, we have fast enough laptops. All of our laptops are fast enough. Actually, our phones are too fast because you cannot use that chipset.
One thing, sorry, I believe I've said 200 grands, but this is a bullshit. So it's like only $2,000. So I believe I said it like. So yeah, move on. This was the only thing I wanted to say.
Yeah, I see. And like. I don't know, everybody considers this as a big change, and yeah, I see like the future of that, and I see when we reach an incredibly fast laptop that's like imagine unimaginable fast laptop that can change everything. But as for now, as for everyday usage, as for content creating usage, today's MacBooks are fast enough, I think.
Of course. Yeah. For example, you have a whole bunch of stuff from Apple. For example, you have your iPad, you have your phone, you have your AirPods, you have your Mac and MacBooks. So this could work together easily because of iCloud, of course. So sometimes I have troubles with converting files from my phone to my notebook and back as well. So I have to use Google Drive, and I can't even attach my phone to my computer. But yeah, there's an app for it, I believe, not just like Google Drive, but something. I don't know what you use. I know you have an Android, but sometimes you record video with an Apple.
Yeah. It's so like actually it's very difficult to use though, and now I'm starting to understand. We were talking about this with Patrick a lot. If you can or cannot, and you can like attach your smartphone and have your files on your computer, but it's like if it works or doesn't work, it does not work. It's like a 50-50 chance. Sometimes it does, sometimes it does not. And I think what you're trying to say is Apple should improve this. I mean, having accessibilities with all kind of files, and honestly, I know AirDrop is cool and kind of works. Most of the times it can work, but like it would be cool if Apple got our possibilities to not just use this with MacBooks.
Yeah, of course. I believe iCloud is the only way to connect your stuff together. So your phone with your Mac, things like that. So, but attaching is more easier and more convenient there. So I believe that if you have a MacBook, an iPhone, and like an iPad, this will definitely work out for you. But if you have an app, if you're like me, so like I have an Apple as a phone, and I have a notebook that's not it's not even an Apple, so it's not a MacBook or something, then you will definitely have troubles to convert files. That's what I'm trying to say. So not like about AirDrop, because AirDrop works, I think, just with phone to phone, I believe, but I don't know whether it can work with MacBooks.
Because like none of us is a MacBook user.
Yeah,
we
we
cannot
know
say
about
it
it.
for sure. Yeah. So like, this would be more useful than having more performance in MacBooks. I mean, I don't know what about you, but I don't see the future of more performance, especially in case of laptops. In case of smartphones, I can see why. I mean, especially the camera hardware needs a lot of performance. But like in case of laptops, I don't know. You can like export your 4K 10-minute video in 5 seconds. That is fast enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like, yeah. Also, macOS changed, and someone likes it, someone not. It's actually got a more like an iPad OS and iOS look, like closer to that. And honestly, I think not that's the interesting. The interesting part in this, as we can see how Apple tries to merge these OSs, and this is something I see as the future. Like these three OSs, like kind of the same and working simultaneously together. That's what we need. That's actually good for Apple, because you will buy more Apple products, and it's good for users because you have kind of three platform but one at the same time, and that's something I think we are getting there.
Yeah. Also, we have to mention that you have to buy your storage for iCloud, so it's like for money.
Yeah.
So
There's something like everything gonna be money. I mean, for money.
you have to pay in the future. You have to pay for everything. So if you want to live a convenient life, you have to pay for it.
Yeah, definitely agreed. And in case of what I was explaining, these merging softwares, this is gonna be just more money, probably.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, this is this honestly, this is how it works. Big developments goes these days. What I kind of hope it's gonna get somewhere, and
I think it's worth it. So I believe that we've started an era where everyone should spend more money on technology, because that's what will carry on humanity to the future.
yeah, yes. And now I think we have our last topic for today's podcast, which is like one of the most exciting. It wasn't at WWDC, obviously, and that's iPhone 12.
Yeah.
Actually, iPhone 12, iPhone 12 Max, iPhone 12 Pro, iPhone 12 Pro Max.
I don't know the names.
These are the 4 iPhones that we will get in September.
But they've told us that iPhone 12 will be a budget phone, so like $500 or something, $550. I don't know.
$650.
$650. Yeah.
Yeah. No, not actually. So comparing to an iPhone, it's gonna be budget, obviously. But this is the smallest one, which is gonna be a really compatible phone though. Like it's gonna have a 5.4-inch screen, which is which is kind of the SE 2020 in size. And it's gonna start at $650. And I don't know what about you, but I think the biggest feature in case of iPhone this year is gonna be the fact that it's gonna be cheaper than the competitors. Most of the competitors.
Yes. I think this will be the game changer.
Yeah, because like iPhone 12 starts at $650. iPhone 12 Max starts at $750, and then the Pro starts at $1,000, and Pro Max starts at $1,100. Obviously, the Pros, as it says, Pro, it's very expensive. But if we see like what Samsung doing, and Samsung Ultra smartphone starts at $1,400.
Of course.
Like,
and now we're talking about like these prices offer you like the smallest storage. So like I don't know what's the smallest on the market.
Now they say the smallest will start. I'm sorry. So the smallest will start at 128 gigabytes.
Oh, that's cool. That's actually cool.
Yeah, this is the first year Apple impacts that, and thanks God they finally impact this amount of storage for us as a base model.
Sometimes I suffer with 64 gigabytes. So
yeah, but 128 is very good, I think. And also, iPhone 12 gonna have big improvements. I mean, it's gonna get a new chipset, obviously, but now it's gonna have a 5nm process, and that actually means faster chipset again. As we discussed, it's a bigger deal in case of smartphones, but still not the big improvement. It's gonna have a smaller notch. Everybody was praying for a smaller notch, and as well, maybe it will have 120 Hz display. It's not sure for now, but it may have, but only the Pro smartphones. And this is something which is a really useful feature, because it really gets your smartphones faster. I mean, seeing faster. And as well, obviously it will get iOS 14, new iOS 14 improvements, and it's gonna have camera improvements. It's gonna get LiDAR scanner, for example, which we see on iPad Pro 2020.
Yeah.
Which is like for better portraits, better AI. It may get an portrait video mode, as well as night mode improvements, 3 times optical zoom, so like a kind of big camera update. And we know, so this year we are going to get a really good iPhone, but I think the biggest improvement is that we got 4 iPhones, and we got iPhones for kind of not all budgets, because like $650 are not cheap, and it's not for everybody, but
Especially here in Hungary, especially here.
yeah, exactly. But Apple finally have a bigger range of buyers. Finally, like that's where we got with iPhone XR. That's where we got with iPhone 11, definitely. But now with these, I think the biggest improvement gonna be here is the price.
Yes.
And I don't know if you know more improvements. That's I think that was like all in my mind right now.
Yeah, actually, I can't add anything because I'm not that curious yet about this phone, but as the months will go on, I will definitely be able to see what's gonna happen.
Yes. And like cool improvements coming. And I am starting to believe in Apple all in all again, and I think that's where we can. That's something where we can end the stream, because that's the main meaning. In in the past years, we kind of lost our beliefs in Apple, or at least me.
Yeah, me too.
But now with WWDC, with iPhone 12, Apple is carrying somewhere else.
Yeah, I think they had to think about what to do next. They really had to consider what the society and the people want, and what ordinary people can actually afford. So, for example, other smartphones were cheaper than the iPhones, of course. And I think this is why more people switched to another smartphone from iPhone, because of budget. So I think this will be the biggest step forward to make the Apple name great again. Actually, it's still great. It's still great, but to make it better for ordinary people as well.
Yes. And I think this was all for today, guys. We tried to cover a lot in case of Apple. And by the way, we have a lot of social media platforms where we try to inform you. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We are trying to have cool content there too. This is all in the link in the description below. If you like this stream, then subscribe or drop us a like. And I think this was all for today.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, and
See you.
see ya after the blackout.